At this point, Trix, the dolls are the dolls.
And she goes, at this point, Trix, the dolls are the dolls.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a June TBR Pride possibility list of books that I'm considering, and then a couple others that aren't gay, or at least I don't think they are. Not intentionally picking them for Pride Month, but yeah, so I thought I would go over what I'm planning to read this month. I don't often do TBR videos, but I thought it would be fun because I'm excited about Pride Month. One thing that I've been mentioning on my channel this year is I tend to find when I read queer fiction or queer anything, I tend to love it because, hello, I am a gay man. Also, side note, I'm wearing my Gothic t-shirt. Love. I saw it at Target for $15. It's giving very much ha gay, you know what I mean? But I had to get it. It was $15 Gothic shirt. Hell yeah. So I'm being gay today. And then I also have a hard kombucha to accompany this video. It's called Tropical Turmeric, Pineapple, Turmeric, and Passion Fruit Hard Kombucha. I like to pretend that I'm being healthy by drinking hard kombucha, which I guess comparatively it is on the healthier side of things, I hope. So let's get into what I will be reading or planning to read in June. I think I already mentioned I don't stick to TBR, so I probably won't read all of these. These are just the high potential things that I'm really looking at. And a few of these I will definitely read, including this book. I would love for you all to help me pick or push me in a direction of certain books here. I know some of these have been out longer than others, and so if they sound interesting to you or you've read them yourself and you want me to read them, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to know what you think about these books and help me hit my goal of reading more queer books this month and throughout the rest of the year. But first I thought I would start by announcing my June book club selection, and it is Either Or by Elif Batuman. This book is a sequel to The Idiot, but I guess it is also a standalone title, so you don't have to read The Idiot to understand what's going on in this, but I think it gives some context to Celine's love interest in the first book, but I guess this follows her sophomore year at Harvard. And so we'll be reading this month. I think this one is a bit of a gay awakening book too, so I think it's queer. I could be wrong. But I'll be joined by Alec from What Page Are You On, who I've been following for a while before I even started booktubing. He was a key inspiration for me to start my own channel, and so I'm really excited to actually have him on a live stream and finally collabing with him on something. And I know he is obsessed with Elif Batuman, so I'm really excited to have him, and we'll talk about it. Please read it. We're going to be talking about spoilers as much as you can spoil this book. But yeah, it just came out, I think, a week ago. So you can get it now. Very hyped. I haven't read it yet, so I need to get on it, and hopefully I love it. Note, I did not love the last 100 pages of The Idiot, but that's fine. I adored the first 300. I thought it was amazing. Her reflections on language are so funny and precise, and I just really liked all of that about the book, and I'm hoping this is more of that. And Alex, who's already read this book, said that I will like it more than The Idiot, he thinks. So, hyped for this. It'll be June 28th at 5 p.m. Pacific time. We're going live, baby, and we're talking about this one. So, add it to your TBR if you haven't already, and you want to join us. Okay, so first I thought I would go over the Pride Month possibilities that I am considering, and I'm going in random order. Some of these I'm more leaning towards than others, but I can be persuaded. So let's get into it. The first one is The Sluts by Dennis Cooper. Apologies for the ring light. This book is one that I've seen around on the interwebs for a while, mostly on Bookstagram and stuff. I know Dennis Cooper is somewhat of a famous writer, I think. I don't really know much about his work, but this one, I don't even know when it came out. It came out 2004. And so this one, it says, set largely on the pages of a website where gay male escorts are reviewed by their clients and told through the postings, emails, and conversations of several dozen unreliable narrators, The Sluts chronicles the evolution of one young escort's date with a satisfied client into a metafiction of pornography, lies, half-truths, and myth. Explicit, shocking, comical, and displaying the author's signature flair for blending structural complexity with direct, stylish, accessible language, The Sluts is Cooper's most transgressive novel since Frisk. I love everything about what that just said. I love internet novels. I love books that question the form and play around with things structurally, but are still, digestible, that are kind of dark. I hear this one is very dark. I don't really know what happens, but also this cover is getting explicit there. But yeah, I think I'm definitely going to read this one. It's been on my list of books I want to read for a while, and just flipping through, it looks quite interesting. I think I'll dig this one. So we'll see. Next is a book that I don't actually know if it is queer. I feel like I saw something saying that it is queer to some extent. I could be totally wrong, so I apologize if I'm wrong. But this one just came out. It's called We Had to Remove This Post by Hannah Bervowitz. This book actually recommended to me by Hannah May on BookTube, my bookish bestie on here. And this one is about a group of content moderators that work for a company or a social media platform. And her task is to review offensive videos and pictures, rants and conspiracy theories, and decide which need to be removed. But soon the job seems to change them all, shifting their world in alarming ways. How long before the moderator's own sense of right and wrong begin to bend and flex? I think it's a little bit of a speculative fiction novel. I'm really excited to read this because I think content moderating is an interesting topic, and this is a slim little book, easy to add it to the Pride possibilities, assuming this is even queer. I could be wrong. Yeah, sounds good. Next up is Tell Me I'm Worthless by Alison Rumfitt. This book I've been almost picking up, like every time I pick up a new book, I'm like, should I pick up this one? I don't know. And now that it's Pride Month, I think it's a perfect time to do it. It is a queer literary Gothic. I guess it's a haunted house novel about a trans woman, I think. So it says a dark, unflinching haunted house novel that takes readers from the well of the literary Gothic up through Brighton's queer scene and out into the heart of modern-day trans experience. I hear this one is quite bleak and dark, and I remember reading in the intro, she says it's about trauma and fascism in a haunted house story. And I also saw Bob the Booker recently read this, and he liked it, so I really want to check this out now. This is another one that I think I'm definitely going to get to. I love queer horror, and so I think this is going to do it for me. But next up is a book that I picked up on a whim recently. I was at my local bookstore, and I just saw it on the new release counter, and it sounds really good. It's called Bad Girls by Camila Sosa Villada, translated by Kit Maud. I really like this cover. Gritty and unflinching, yet also tender, fantastical, and funny, a trans woman's tale about finding a community on the margins. Imbuing reality with the magic of a dark fairy tale, Bad Girls offers an intimate, nuanced portrait of trans coming of age that captures a universal sense of the strangeness of our bodies. It grips and entertains while also challenging ideas about love, sexuality, gender, and identity. Sounds incredible. Very excited to read this. This one's out from Other Press. And I think I read something of theirs this year that I really liked, but I can't remember. Next up is a book that I bought during the Barnes & Noble 50% off sale around the New Year time. But this is one that's been on my list for a while. I've seen a couple of people on BookTube have read this already. I think it's over a year old, maybe. It has a Maggie Nelson blurb on it, and I guess it's about gay bars, I think. So this is going to be me reading you synopses, so I apologize, but it's kind of fun. So it says, strobing lights in dark rooms, drag queens on counters, first kisses, last call. The gay bar has long been a place of solidarity and sexual expression. Now they are closing, a cultural demolition that has Jeremy Atherton Lynn wondering, could this spell the end of gay identity as we know it? So I think this is a critical exploration of gay bars in history and what it means for the gay community. And just reading that right now makes me want to pick it up immediately. It sounds incredible as I frequent the gay bars, So I think it'll be really interesting to read about this and get more of a critical consideration of gay bars and how they fit into queer identity. So we'll see. It's a nonfiction pick, rare for me on the channel. Next up, another one for another nonfiction possibility is Audre Lorde, Essays and Speeches, Sister Outsider. This is a book that I know is the one to read. This one is incredibly popular, and I never read her work before, so I think it's about time I do that. She's one of the most celebrated Black queer writers, and I just feel like I need to read her finally. So this is another one that I've had on my shelves for a year or two, and I think I need to get to it. So another possibility. Next up, I have an ARC. This book comes out July 12th. It's Other Names for Love by Timur Sumro. And this one's out from FSG, and I remember they sent this to me, and it sounds so good. I think it's about a young queer coming-of-age story. So it says, at age 16, Fahad hopes to spend the summer with his mother in London. His father, Rafiq, has other plans, hauling his son to the family's rural estate in upcountry Pakistan. Rafiq wants to toughen up his sensitive boy to make him a man. Instead, Fahad finds himself seduced by the wildness of the land and its inhabitants, including Ali, a local teenager who threatens to unearth everything hidden. A seductive coming-of-age story, Timur Sumro's Other Names for Love is a charged, hypnotic tale of masculinity, inheritance, and power told with uncommon urgency and beauty. It also has a Garth Greenwell blurb, and we follow each other on Instagram. So, I really want to read this. It sounds great. I feel like this one's going to make me cry. It's giving cry vibes, But we'll see. Next up is a story collection that was recently sent to me by Catapult, who I adore. They publish some really cutting edge, I would say, and just innovative fiction I really enjoy, and I tend to like anything that they publish. So this one is a collection of short stories called Double Rainbow by Lydia Conklin. And I don't know exactly what this is about, but I remember being very intrigued by this. So let me just read what it's about. It says, a collection of stories that celebrate the humor, darkness, and depth of emotion of the queer and trans experience from a new voice. In this collection, queer, trans, and gender nonconforming characters seek love and connection in hilarious and heartrending stories that reflect the complexity of our current moment. Ooh, okay, hold on. I'm going to read some of the, the brief synopses that they include. So it says, a non-binary writer on the eve of top surgery enters into a risky affair during the height of COVID. Fuck. A lesbian couple enlists a close friend as a sperm donor, plying him with a potent rainbow-colored cocktail. A lonely office worker struggling with their gender identity chaperones their nephew to a trans YouTube convention. And in the depths of a Midwestern winter, a sex-addicted librarian relies on her pet ferrets to help resist a relapse at a wild college fair. This sounds so good. I think I might pick this up next. That sounds fucking incredible. Anyways, this is out now from Catapult. Lovely cover, too. Okay, and last up is a book that I'm, least inclined to read out of the stack just because... Okay, there's a couple reasons. So, it's Moon Witch Spider King by Marlon James. I have not read Marlon James before, ever, but I've been really wanting to. And this is actually the sequel to the first in this trilogy called Black Leopard Red Wolf. I don't even own it. This is a sequel, and you're probably wondering, why did I buy this if I haven't read it? But I was reading some coverage of this book, and I learned that it has queer stuff going on in it. It's also sci-fi fantasy, I believe. And I saw this interview in which Marlon James talks about the world building in this and him writing a trilogy, a planned trilogy. And he says that you can pick this one up without having read the first one. And he actually encouraged readers to do so if they haven't read his first book, to see how the telling in this book is different from the first one and seeing how it kind of plays with your perception of the first book once you get to that one. So basically I'm saying they can be read out of order, and he encourages that to understand the different narratives being told within this world. Aside from that, I don't really know what it's about, but I hear it's amazing, and I've only seen really great things about this series. It's just so out of my comfort zone, and I think it's almost, it's 600 pages. So I just don't know if I'm going to throw that into all of this, considering some other big books I'm reading. But if you've read Marlon James and this series in particular, I would love to know your thoughts on this, to help push me to pick this up sooner, because I keep almost doing it, but I'm just a little intimidated by it. So that's that. And then finally, I have 4 books that are not queer to my knowledge that I'm considering reading for different reasons. I'm not going to finish this book in June, by no means. It's Larry McMurtry's Lonesome Dove. This is a winner of the Pulitzer Prize, I forget when, I think in the 60s? Nope, 85. Bernie Lombardi on Instagram, he's hosting a read-along of this book throughout the months of June and July. He already calendared it out, and you only have to read 10 to 20 pages a day to finish this by the end of July. And I've only heard incredible things about this book. It's a Western, though, so it's completely out of my comfort zone, but I'm really trying to get myself to push myself to read other things. And I feel like reading in community is my favorite thing to do. I now have my book club. I talk to authors and stuff. I just love talking with people. And so I feel like it would be a good way for me to read a big book that is very critically acclaimed, out of my comfort zone, with a bunch of friends online. So I'm considering reading this. I don't know if anything will throw a wrench in that if I don't like it. I've never really read a Western before. So yeah, that's a project that I might be embarking on. We will see. Next up is a book that was recently sent to me, and I'm just so excited to read it that I had to mention it here. It's One's Company by Ashley Hudson, out from W.W. Norton. This one, I requested it because it had comparisons to Mona Awad and my favorite writer, Ottessa Moshfegh. And this one talks about a woman who just wants to be left alone, to come home from work, shut out the ghost of some devastating losses, and unwind in front of the nostalgic Golden Glow of her favorite TV show, Three's Company. So all I know about this is like a DWM Moshfegh style book, and I'm really excited to see where she goes with it, considering the Three's Company allusion here. Growing up, I used to watch Three's Company with my mom all the time, and I loved it. So I feel like it'd be fun to read about one of my favorite TV shows growing up. I haven't watched that show in a long time, so I don't know if I'd still enjoy it, but I remember really liking it, and I'm curious to see what I get from this one. It just sounds really innovative and fun. And I think it gets a little bit speculative and absurd about trauma, TV, depressed woman. Sounds great. Right up my alley. Next up, I have Post-Traumatic by Chantal V. Johnson. This has been on my radar since 2021, I think. It sounds so good. I've been seeing so many rave reviews since this published. I've had an ARC for a while, and I just hadn't gotten to it yet, but this one sounds amazing. And this one follows a lawyer in New York City who is, I think, grappling with some sort of trauma, and she's currently representing mentally ill patients at a New York City psychiatric hospital. And so I guess this book is a exploration of the trauma plot in fiction, which I've been thinking a lot about lately. And I actually listened to an interview with her on the Maris Review podcast, and she talked about how she considered her book, or thinking about her book now in light of the recent trauma plot essay published by Pearl Sagal in The New Yorker, and how she thinks that this book is actually contravening the negative aspects of trauma plot and really kind of being an answer to the stereotypical aspects of what a trauma plot gives to a reader and what to expect from those. And so I really am now intrigued to see how she handles it here, and I am myself a lawyer, so I'm really curious to see how she handles it. That's that. I really want to read that. Finally, a book that I'm definitely reading this month, it's Freedom by Jonathan Franzen. This one is one that I'm going to be reading with my besties, the book hotties. CJ, I think, is in. Hannah's in. Katie is in. I don't know if Grace is in. Yeah, we're going to read this one together. I have become a stanzin, as they say. I've read Crossroads, I've read The Corrections, and I've heard this one is also phenomenal, so I'm really excited to read another one of his. But we're going to read this month, and this is another long one, so I'm a little scared, considering all the queer shit I want to read, and reading this Franzen, but I'm hoping that I just fly through this because I love him, and I love his books, so we'll see. There's that. Okay, and then last note. I have been wanting to reread all of Ottessa Moshfegh's books to vlog the experience, and think about rereading books, considering my favorite books, are they still my favorites, and do all of that. But another thing I want to do in the spirit of like reading outside of my comfort zone, I recently started the audiobook of Book Lovers by Emily Henry, which I don't read romance at all. That's just not my thing, but I've been seeing it a lot online. I saw Claire Reads Books, just did a vlog about it, and she loved it. She's gotten into romance, I think, in the last year or two. I also saw Alex from the Page One, who I previously mentioned, who's joining me on the channel this month. He started reading it as well, and I'm like, wait, hold up. Are we trying romance this month? Is that what's happening? And I'm actually kind of enjoying it. I've been enjoying, with the summer approaching, having just a very light, breezy thing to consume. I read a lot of lit fic. I've been reading stuff that's kind of a little bit more daunting and challenging. And I'm like, what if I just read something that's purely fluffy and light and lovey, but also about books? And I guess I've read that Emily Henry kind of questions the form of the romance novel, something that I like. I'm like, let me try it. So I was thinking about doing a romance reading out of my comfort zone vlog, reading that one. If I like it, maybe all of Emily Henry's books, or maybe adding some queer shit to the romance lineup. I know Kweke Emezi, they just published a romance, I think this week. So maybe doing an Emily Henry, Kweke Emezi, and then another one, maybe some something gay. I don't know. An idea I had. If you would like to see me read romance, whether that be all of Emily Henry's books or a blending of a certain number of romance novels, maybe maximum 3, I am definitely open, all ears to any of your recommendations. Yeah, I want to keep pushing myself to try, I don't know, reading other stuff. I don't know, I read a couple classics this year and I loved it. So I'm like, what if I just keep trying stuff and grow as a reader, What if I'm not reading more stuff that I could be enjoying? Let me know what you're reading this month for Pride Month. I would love to hear what's on your list. Are any of these on your list? Did I convince you to pick them up? Let me know. Are there any that I shouldn't read? Do you not like any of these books? I would love to hear your thoughts and comments and concerns. But anyways, yeah, this was a fun video to film. I'm really excited about this month of reading. As you can tell, this is overly ambitious, and I'm very annoyed already at me not being able to read all of these. But hopefully one day I will finish all of them. But anyways, until next time, I will catch you all in the next one. Have a drink this time. Cheers.